Hi, this is Eric Martin, News Editor of BoardGameGeek. I'm here today with an advanced copy of Canterbury sent by designer, publisher Andrew Parks. As a preview look at this game, and obviously this is not the production copy of the game because it comes in a big plastic bag. That's not how it comes out. The game also has this big board. It's got a smaller board. It has a still smaller board. It has other smaller boards and even other smaller boards. And then it has minuscule, tiny little boards. Some might call them tiles. And maybe it'd be better if we actually just lay everything out and take a look at it. Here's the basic setup for Canterbury. We've got an area for the city to grow in, right, based on a rigid outline left behind by the Romans hundreds of years earlier. They were then built upon by the Saxons when they came in and decided to build a city. They're just, oh hey, the Romans already did the hard part. Let's just fill in the blanks. All right, that's what you were doing. You were the Saxons. You got a whole bunch of buildings to actually put into place, and each player has an action card to show you the 3 types of actions that are possible on your turn. Each district has 6 spaces in it. Okay, these small buildings cover 1 space, the medium ones 2, and a large one 4. There are 6 types of services that are available to be provided in the city. All right, people need to have, let's lift this up here so you can look at it. They need to have water and food, and then religion, defense, commerce, and culture. This is the order in which designer Andrew Parks thinks people need stuff. Water first. I don't know. Not if you're on Saturn. Anyway, the people need to have water in a region before they're going to care about food, and then after they get food, they're going to care about religion, after religion, defense, and then commerce, and then culture. That's the goal of the game. First we care about survival, then we care about actually improving our lives in some manner. So in the center of town we have a Roman well, which started. We have a purple cube here to credit the Romans for providing water to this region. On a turn, as I mentioned, you're going to take 1 of 3 actions. Okay, you can levy money, you can build 1 or 2 buildings or 1 large building, and you can levy half the money you would here and then build 1 building. All right, how do you determine money? Well, you've got a city prosperity marker here that starts at 1 credited for that well. All right, it's not much, but it's better than nothing. There is a monetary track around the board, and you can see here, and wherever the prosperity marker is, that's how much money you'll get when you levy taxes. Okay, so if it's in this region, you get 12. If it advances past this line, you get 13. If it advances around the board past 100, you put a marker on it, so then it's 10 plus this, 22, 23. Advances again, 32, 33, and 34, and so on around the board, starting at 5 and going up from there. So whenever you levy taxes, you get that much money from the treasury. If you notice on the board here, after you levy taxes, you must build. You can't just sit and stockpile money turn after turn after turn, because of course the peasants would revolt. They see you just sucking up all their money. They don't agree with that. You must do something with it. You must build in the town and provide them something just so they don't revolt and kill you. When you're building, you choose any of the tiles that you want and can afford. You have to pay the cost up in the corner here. The small buildings go 1 to 6, the medium ones 10 to 20, and the large ones 25 to 40. Okay, you can build whatever you want as long as you follow the building rules in the city. Okay, again, people want water first. When we start in the middle of the game, we have 1 area that's supplied with water. You can build a well or a fountain or a waterworks, things that supply water in any orthogonally adjacent region. Okay, except you don't have enough money for these 2, so never mind. You can build a well. When you provide a region with a service, you get to put your marker under that, just to, they'll put you in the book. Oh yeah, Eric did us a solid, getting us some water. Awesome, we're gonna remember him for that. You can build 2 buildings at the beginning. I could then go on to provide water over here, and I get marked off here. Okay. Anytime that you build something, you are going to advance a marker on this King's bonus chart. It has the 6 services, and it marks off how many you've supplied. So if I did this, I would place a marker on 2. At the end of the game, whoever is farthest ahead in each row gets the yellow mark. Whoever is the second farthest ahead gets the blue mark. Okay, so the second player has to get at least so far, or else he gets nothing. So of course, the one thing the first player can do is try to get so much that the second player can't get a bonus out of doing that. In any case, that's for later. All right. If a region is already supplied with some type of service, you can provide the next service. So the next player can come in and build a garden here to supply wheat. Okay, they can also spend their second buy. Hey, I'm going to build a chapel. All right, now they got food, now they get religion. All right. Okay, if you build a larger building in a region, okay, the center area here has water. We can provide it with a farm because it already has water. Now we can supply it with food. If you do that, you give that region food and it supplies food to all the orthogonally adjacent regions. This one's already supplied by Mr. Yellow, so red doesn't get any credit for that. All right, they're already taken care of. These regions now have food waiting for them, but they still need water. If you're going to build in this district, you must still supply water first. And again, of course, you could put in a well, and now I'm going to fill in all these exterior regions. This one already has water, so that's taken care of. Now that this has water and food, I could now build a chapel in here if I want, and now I get credit. Okay, this is all based on what you can afford to do, of course. Now, I played all of once, so I don't have a huge, history with the game to rely on. But it's dynamic in terms of, you responding to other people, what they build and what you're trying to build. You're trying to get bonuses on the board. Okay, you're also trying to get points for what you actually built. I have not discussed points yet. Let us discuss points now. So each tile has a number in purple in the bottom left and a number in blue in the bottom right. So the purple bonus is what the city gets. So whenever you build something, the city gets prosperous. All right, you put a chapel in there, the city's prosperity goes up by 3. Yay, our city's better. Also, your prosperity goes up by 3. Okay? Every time you build something, you advance and the city advances. You improve the city, but you personally look good. The numbers are mostly square, that is, they're even 10, 10, 12, 12, 14, 14, until you get up to the higher ones here, 16, 18, 18, 20, and so on. The larger buildings give a variable bonus depending on where they're built. All right? 36 points if you plop a cathedral in the center region, and then 31 and then 26. Okay. How do you plop something in the center region when spaces may be full? Well, you can demolish buildings that are already in place as long as they are still supplied with those goods. For example, okay, here's this region here. Let's say I suddenly had the money to build a cathedral in the center region. They have water, they have food. Oh, they need religion. All right, I can put a cathedral in, except there's not enough room. However, there's a fountain over here that's supplying water to this adjacent region. I can just boot this well out of here and plop it in the cathedral. As long as I can spend $31, of course, to do that. And the city gets prosperous and I get prosperous. And I bring religion to the center city, center region. In addition, okay, the small ones, you place a cube only in that area. The larger ones, you place in that area and the orthogonally adjacent regions. The big one, you get to put a cube here and you get to put a cube in any 5 other regions. So you can supply religion wherever you want. I like how, the image of you walking the streets and handing out pamphlets and getting everybody proselytized. That's how you're going to claim big bonuses on the King's board, in addition to setting up other building possibilities by supplying those services to other areas. So you're going to keep progressing and building and adding in the game with the city's prosperity going up and the individual player prosperity going up. When the city's prosperity marker passes 100, and then when it passes 200 and when it passes 300, you have intermediate district scoring. You look at each district on the board, and you see who has the majority of cubes in that region. Okay, I have the majority of cubes, but there are no buildings, so there's no bonus. No bonus, no bonus, no bonus. Hey, I have the majority over here. There's one building, or sorry, there's one space covered, so I get a bonus of 1 point. Yellow gets a bonus of 3 points here. Green has the second most. It gets half that rounded down, so 1 point. Red and green are tied, so they're going to split. Green has the most, red has the second most. Green gets 5, red gets 2. Okay, so you're going to have intermediate scoring in addition to the scoring as you build tiles. In addition, anytime you break ground in a district, you're going to be scoring a bonus. Okay, so even though water is supplied here by the fountain that I laid down earlier, whoever builds in this region first gets a bonus for breaking ground. Okay, so yellow comes here, gets a bonus. Okay. You get a 3-point bonus as well when you demolish a structure and replace it with a structure that supplies the same thing. Okay, that would not be the case in here. If I replace a well, which supplies water, with a cathedral, which supplies religion, okay, those are not equivalent. Water and belief are not equivalent. Okay, but if you replace something with an equivalent service that's larger, then you get a bonus for doing that. I see people commenting about the lack of randomness equaling a lack of variability. It seems like a very weird comment to make. Again, I played all at one time, so I don't have personal experience to talk about this, but it seems odd. It seems like, are you going to complain about chess and checkers not having variability because they have no randomness? Or other two-player abstract games, or even multiplayer abstract games? I mean, the options, the actions are pretty simple, and they're all limited 1, 2, 3. That's all you get. But once you start putting buildings on the board, the possible places where you can take actions become pretty numerous. There's a lot of stuff that's building up there in terms of what's possible. Of course, depending on what bonuses you have, how much money you have, what you think other people are trying to do, how close you are to ending the round, what districts you're trying to score bonuses in, and all the other gamey stuff that happens whenever you do a game. The game end is triggered when the prosperity marker passes 300. Okay, so when the prosperity marker passes 300, you finish the current round, so each player has the same number of turns. You then each take 1 additional turn, and then the game ends. You have a final district scoring, okay, for each of the regions that are on the board here. You score some money, some points for any money that you have left over, and you do a scoring based on the king's bonus, which can be huge. There's lots of points sitting here that people can claim, because you got 6 things available, and you can hopefully get first or second in a few of those. Add those up, see who's the most points, and that's that. And there's a rundown of a game of Canterbury, at least for 3 and 4 players. With 2 players, you have some special tokens, which are build and not build. What you do with 2 players is you each have a stack of small buildings and medium buildings, and every other turn you're going to build one of those on the board and use, give credit to a neutral builder, right? Someone else came down, snuck into town late at night and built a watchtower. No one knows who. Right? So this provides some competition in terms of which people get which district bonuses, so you don't just have 2 people in there competing for it. You can use the neutral player to try to steal credit away, and of course you use them to set up supplies in certain regions to go in later and build them yourself. So that's that. Parks expects to publish the game later in 2013. So, there you go.